Cat TV is celebrating 30 years of community media. Help support Cat TV's next 30 years by becoming a member today. Your membership will help us continue covering meaningful, local content. Thank you for supporting your local community media station.
Reorganize the agenda. I'm going to save public comment until after we reorganize so that whoever is elected chair can conduct that. So at this time, I am going to ask for nominations to be chair of the SVSU board.
I nominate Dick France.
And I'll second that.
Okay, Dick France has been made and seconded. Are there any other nominations for the SU board chair?
Wondering if Jackie Kelly might be interested, but I don't see her there, so.
Yeah, she's supposed to have been here, but she,
Well,
Are there any other nominations for the SVSU board chair? Hearing none, I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor of Dick France being the chair, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Dick is abstaining from voting. If you could note that, Richard. All right. By my count, that there's 6 in favor and 1 abstention. So I believe, Dick, you are the chair of the SVSU, and I am going to turn this meeting over to you.
thanks, Jim. Welcome to the Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union Board. Meeting March 23rd, 2022. The agenda goes as follows. Our first item will be public comments. Then finance operations related. There is one policy, 5003. Consent agenda, superintendent's report, chair's report, any other business to be brought before the meeting, and several items for your information only. So if we could move to public comments, are there any members of the public wishing to make a comment? I am not seeing anything up there.
I'm not seeing anything either.
So our second item is we have to go to procedures for executing contracts and authorization of the chair and vice chair.
So this is, I'll read the language. Do you want to do the chairs first? Yeah, sorry, you're going to do your
Vice chair.
first. Yep, go ahead. Do your vice chair first, sir.
You know, I should be paying attention to what I'm supposed to do. There's Jackie. We need to elect a vice chair for this PSU board. Are there nominations for vice chair?
I'll nominate Jackie Kelly.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all right, we have a second. I don't know who got in first there, but Scott did also, and Todd. Are there other nominations for vice chair? Seeing none, all those in favor of Jackie Kelly as vice chair of the SVSU board, signify by saying aye.
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 Abstentions? Any opposed? Motion carries. Jackie, congratulations as the vice chair. We need also to elect a clerk. So we would like a nomination for board clerk.
I'll nominate Nicole Whalen.
I'll second it.
We have a nomination from Scott, Nicole Whalen, and a second from Leon. Are there other nominations? Seeing none, all those in favor of Nicole as clerk for the SVSU, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none, congratulations, Nicole. And now I guess I should move on to 2 items under procedure for executing contracts.
I'll read the motion for you. I have it. The motion is to authorize the superintendent or his, her designee to execute on behalf of the supervisory union purchase orders, agreements for consulting services, grant agreements, and other contracts arising, affecting the routine operation of the school district. The superintendent or designee shall not execute any contracts resulting from a public bid process, any employment agreements, and any long-term contracts without the express authority from the board.
I'll move it.
We have a motion for that statement from Leon. Is there a second from Todd?
Second.
Discussion on the motion. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No abstentions. Motion carries. And the authorization is given. We now need an authorization for the chair or vice chair to approve off-cycle warrants. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion from Todd,
I'll second it.
second by Leon. Discussion. No discussion. Okay, all those in favor of authorizing the chair and the vice chair to approve off-cycle warrants, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries and the chair and the vice chair are authorized to approve off-cycle warrants. Next item is finance and operations related. There is a treasurer's report from January 22 and from February 22. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
I'll second it, but
All right.
the reports are January 31st and February 28th. I think the dates on them.
Okay,
So
if Jackie made the motion, you'll accept that as an amendment, Jackie?
Yes.
Okay. And Leon seconded?
Yeah.
All right, and discussion? All right, all those in favor of adopting the January 31st and the February 28th, 2022 treasurer's report signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? No abstentions? Motion carries. The reports are approved. We have a VSBA mini grant.
I see that Jonathan Phipps is here at the meeting. Jonathan, are you able to unmute and explain what this grant is and what we're going to use it for? Jonathan?
Yes, I am.
Okay, welcome.
Thanks. So we applied for a grant from the
Those
Vermont.
just Jonathan. Let me
Yes.
stop you. Jonathan is the SVSU equity coordinator, just in case any new members don't know that. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Good point. Thank you. So we applied for a equity-related grant from the Vermont Superintendents Association, and we got the grant was originally we got $2,500. The idea behind the grant was we were going to host an event for Juneteenth on June 18th, the day before Juneteenth, our nation's newest federal holiday. And it's going to be a community public event, a cookout, and just a basic educational time and trying to get the knowledge about Juneteenth out into the public sphere, as well as bring the community together and partner with partners to do so. So that's what we're going to do, and that's what we got the grant for. So, and I'm feverishly putting that together now.
Jonathan, you said Superintendent's Association. I believe it's from the School Board Association, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That's
Sorry
right.
about that.
Thank you.
School board.
My
Okay.
spot.
I think it's all.
I get them all
Actually,
mixed up.
it's all three. Actually, if I could add to that, it specifies in the letter that the Vermont Principals Association and the Vermont Superintendents Association are also part of this. So.
Three of them.
So you're partially right, Jonathan.
Actually,
Thank you.
So we would like a motion to accept that grant.
So second it.
Motion by Todd, second by Leon. Is there discussion? If none, all those was you putting your hand up, Jackie?
No, I was doing a group switch instead of an individual. It's a screen switch. Sorry.
Well, Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. The grant is accepted. Thank you, Jonathan. We have one policy to warn this evening, number 5003, prevention of sexual harassment as prohibited by Title IX. This is a required policy by law, and the attorney has reviewed it. I guess put most of it together, really. Anything you want to add to that, Leon?
Well, this is the recommendation. What we did was took the recommendation right from the school board and in terms of accepting exactly what it is. So the language is to reflect exactly what was being passed on to us because it was so detailed and they wanted us to do this immediately. And so that's what this is. And so I'm in favor of accepting this as a warrant.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
We have a motion from Leon to warn 5003. Is there a second? Second. Second from Ray. Any further discussion? All those in favor of warning 5003, prevention of sexual harassment as prohibited by Title IX, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, did I see it? No. Okay. An abstention? None. Okay, and the policy 5003 is warned. Next item on the agenda is a consent agenda, which includes minutes, warrants, resignations, and nominations. Hopefully everybody got the amended agenda, which includes nominations.
Yeah.
It adds that to the list. The minutes are from January 26th of 2022.
I have a question on the nominations.
We have a motion to get this on the table.
So move.
Motion from second. Oh, okay, and a second from Ray. Discussion. Go ahead, Jackie.
So I was just wondering, of all these nominations, how many of them have been supported by ESSER funds?
As I quickly look at it, I would say their budget positions,
I
One,
didn't hear.
unless there's one, unless someone.
one, I see one, yes.
Which one is it? The,
Pre-K,
Social coach?
K, social emotional coach, correct.
yep, social emotional coach. Okay.
So then that would be a person who is hired for 1 or 2 years?
They're hired right now under the grant funding that we have, correct, using the grant money we have.
I can't predict whether 2 years from now I may come to the board and say that the position is important enough that it needs to be included in the budget, but that is a possibility.
Thank you.
No further discussion.
I just have one thing.
Todd.
Jim, this seems like a lot of resignations. Is this unusually high?
No. Now we have, I don't see Nick on the meeting, so I'll do my best Nick impression rather. Typically we're under what the national average is in education systems for, we're under 10%, but with the number of employees that we have, even at an 8 or 9% turnover rate every year, it's not an unusual number at all. No. Especially in a competitive marketplace right now. Always a concern, but I haven't seen anything. I have not seen a fluctuation higher than what we normally experience.
Right.
Follow up to that. What about with our peers in Vermont? Or size of the system?
I don't think we're unusually high for systems our size. I believe we're still below what the experience rate is. And what you're seeing here is a lot of paraprofessional support, which has a higher than changeover rate than our teachers. So no, I'm always concerned about changeover, but I have not seen in my time here that we are above averages anywhere. So, and Kate, did you want to address something on your staff changeovers we could add in?
Yeah, we've had just a few of our NEC paraprofessionals who have taken work at another local agency that does the same work for children with autism. But they've all expressed that, they enjoy their time at NEC and they would come back if the situation was different. So we're hoping to see them back again at some point in time.
So as we enter into negotiations with support staff in the fall, this certainly will be an issue, and we can give you a full report at that time if we are experiencing turnover rate, particularly in our lower paying positions. We could possibly be experiencing, once we have the full picture, once we're completely out of the hiring season, what that full turnover rate will look like. Because it's not just the support staff, we're seeing struggles filling custodial and maintenance positions too.
Further discussion?
Is the, excuse me, is the English learner teacher, is that new to our district or?
I believe this position is new. We had one, but we're going to have two. Is that correct, Laura?
Yes, it's reflecting our current need. Yes.
Yep. We've always had one, but we need a second one.
How many numbers are involved, just as a curiosity?
How many, what?
You don't necessarily have to have one-on-one, right?
And I'm going to look at Melissa. She might want to jump in here. Want to go ahead, Melissa? Go ahead. I'm going to let Melissa Senecal, Director of Curriculum Instruction Assessment, take this one.
So previous to, I just want to be very careful with the size that we have. So I won't tell you specifically what schools, because I want to make sure I don't have identifiables, but there was one EL teacher and she served, I will say, right under 10. And then we have an influx of many other learners, a couple of them with very high need. So similar to student support services, sometimes there are some of our learners that are moving in that have extraordinarily high needs and need one-to-one, and they just need more. And there are others where our EL teachers do consultation with the teachers that are in the buildings. I don't know if you want some more specifics. I'm trying to be respectful of their.
Right. When we get into the smaller group sizes like this, we want to make sure we don't give so much information that it could identify who we're talking
Thank
about.
you. No, that's more than adequate. That was good. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Jackie, did you have another question you had?
No, just a comment that the newspaper reported that we have new families from Afghanistan coming in. So I kind of expected this.
Yeah. Is there any other discussion on the consent agenda? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. The consent agenda is approved. Superintendent's report.
Good evening. First, let me thank you for amending the agenda to allow these nominations. We are in a very tight competitive marketplace for hiring staff members, and some of these nominations today, we really felt that we needed to lock people in to get them to sign a contract, make them a valid offer that the board had voted on to get them on board before. Some of them might have multiple offers in front of them. So that's one of the things that we're experiencing right now. And like I said, once we get to the end of this school year and have a better picture on the hiring where we are, I'll have HR Director Nick Galt on the agenda for a full report of as we've done in the past, of how many positions were open, how many we filled, and what that looks like. We're not seeing. We also have positions that we have still no applicants for. I'm talking about for next school year right now. So our principals are a little nervous on some of that, but so thank you for not the problem, with the way the process works, getting board approval. I didn't want to wait another month on some of these. So thank you for that. I also, since we last met, right, our budget's passed. I just want to take a moment to thank our communities for supporting our educational budget. It was heartwarming to see that they passed and that they value the work that we're doing on behalf of our students. And I also want to thank the boards for all the work that you put in to get the budgets presentable, and to our finance and operation department, particularly the administrator there, Renee Gordon, and then to all the administrators in central office for their work on getting the budgets. A lot of work goes to it, and it all starts again with our principals and in their buildings. The budget process, it seems it's almost a nonstop process, because we'll be right back at it again in the fall, starting to build budgets. So thank you to all who were involved, and thank you to the communities for supporting us. Excuse me. So our progress on moving to a different location is ongoing, and I see no reason that we will not be on target to move out of the current central office building by June 30th. The Union Elementary Board has formed an ad hoc committee to see what they're going to do with that building. And I believe they had one meeting already. I will arrange I will arrange a tour for the SU board once we get a little bit further along construction. It's still very much an active construction site. We have a construction meeting every 2 weeks on site. And when we were there last week, most of the sheetrocking and rough wiring is done. And I imagine when we go back in 2 weeks, all the sheetrocking will be done, and then they'll be on to starting actually finishing and flooring and ceilings, lighting. Still a lot of work to do, but the progress has been impressive. It's funny to see how the space shrinks down once the walls start going up. What once looked like a real large wide open area has a very different feel to it. But I'm really looking forward to being able to operate all of our staff in one location in a facility that is ADA compliant, and in a facility where people have a clean, healthy environment to operate on. So thank you to the board for supporting that. But once I feel that it's a long progress enough, we'll be able to have a tour there. I'm told that by 4:30 every day, they said that pretty much the construction activity, it's been cleaned up, and the construction activity for that day is, so I anticipate sometime after the April vacation, being able to set that up for you. We reached a monumental event yesterday. I believe we have completed the 2022-2023 school calendar. One of the challenges this year was creating one calendar, because we are one SU. So incorporating Arlington's calendar into what was the SU calendar, so to now one SU calendar. I want to thank the Arlington principals who we met with, who really worked with us. There was some compromises on both sides on how we make this one uniform calendar. And just to remind you how that process works, the superintendents are supposed to get together and do a regional calendar around the tech center. Like I meet with the tech center principal, and I have to submit by April 1 to the state a calendar that is regionally guided. And the reason for that is so that students who attend the tech center from different school districts or supervisory unions go the maximum number of days they can, so that like days off and start dates and school vacations are aligned as much as possible. So because if they didn't, it's possible like a student from one school district may not go for 2 weeks to the tech center because the tech center's vacation doesn't align with theirs. So that's why the state mandates a regional calendar. So I think one final set of eyes on it, and we'll be ready to submit it, and I'll share it to you. One thing that everybody should be aware of, and we will start some public education on this for the I don't know the right way to phrase this. I don't want to say the original SU towns. That sounds unfair to Arlington, but so I'll just, to Bennington and Shasberry and Pownell, Woodford, North Bennington, there will be a shift. You'll see a noticeable shift on in the months of January, February, March, where the Wednesdays will be a half day, which has always taken place in Arlington and Sandgate. Well, Arlington and Sandgate students to participate in the JIP program, which is the ski program that they've always participated in. Shasberry at one point did it too, and I think Woodford might have participated in the past. So that will be part of our calendar. That was one of the concessions in merging the two calendars, and we'll use that for professional learning time. I am mindful that that will impact some of our communities because they may not participate in the ski program. So one of the commitments, while we're going to promote our students, schools that want to participate in it, do it. We also are committed to providing some form of school-based care for during that professional learning time for families that need to avail themselves of that services. I don't know what that will look like right now, but I acknowledge that in our communities, that is a necessity for many families. For me, just to say that students are going home after lunch on Wednesdays in January, February, March, and not make some consideration of what we're going to do for them would not be is not something that I'm comfortable doing. So we will make a commitment to seeing whether we partner with somebody to offer services or whether we try and do it ourselves. But we will then use that time for when our staff will be engaged in professional learning, which ultimately will parents will be able to plan better because it'll be those Wednesdays. So and it hopefully it'll allow for continuity of professional learning and all the professional learning that we've been doing in our district. One of the consistent things we hear from the presenters is one of the issues about the way we do professional learning with our staff. It ends, we're all encouraged. We hear great things like, all right, we'll see you in 6 weeks when we do it again. So by doing it more consistently, I think we'll make some more progress on professional learning than what we had. So once that calendar's out, I'll share it with you. But that really is the highlight of it. We have a common start date. Our vacations are aligned. There were a couple of things at the end that might be different because the amount of staff days in the Arlington teacher contract is a little different than the amount of staff days in the other towns. So we had to adjust for that, but the student count days, fortunately, was the same. So there's a couple of days that will not exactly line up, but it took a lot of eyes and a lot of effort. And I think we might have been on revision 4 or 5 by the time we finally got done. So that's really the big issues of my report. I am here for any questions of anything that I might not have addressed.
I have one. Leon, the question has asked me about the meetings. Now that COVID is over, will the meetings continue to be at central office, or will those meetings move back to the central location that we had at the Mount Anthony Middle School? Vice versa.
Well, that's a board decision. I will tell you that if you go back to meeting at the middle school, you will not have the ability to do a remote option to join the meeting. We do not have the technology present at the middle school library that is in this room. So if the board decides they want to, and it is their prerogative to decide they want to move their meeting location, then the ability to join electronically would end.
Okay, we can tell everybody that. I mean, the people that talked to me was hoping that we would start going all the way with in-person meetings, and using the only alternative we used to have was a phone call in as opposed to a video.
Yeah.
So I'm knowing we'll be kicking it around until
Now come July 1, the facility we're moving to has a larger conference room than the room that you're in. And the technology that we have will be coming with us into that room. And that is a central location, right? So it is possible that the SU may decide to hold their meetings there. Like that's, again, board's decision to make where you want to hold your meetings. But I've looked at the possibility of moving, buying additional technology to make the media center at the middle school available so they can do hybrid meetings. But it hasn't happened to this date. There are a number of obstacles in the way, mainly about placements of monitors and sound systems.
Can I just add, Jim, can I just add one
Yep.
caveat to that? If we are talking about having there be full in-person meetings, once again, we've gotten ourselves in the habit of 5 o'clock meetings, and that's
Right.
not going to be possible for many of us, including myself.
I remember that, Scott, that you had told us only if it was Zoom you could make a 5 o'clock meeting. And I will go on the record and say I like 5 o'clock meetings versus 7 o'clock meetings, but
Yeah.
and I also like the fact that, like, we should remember audience participation hasn't really shifted. It's not like we got a lot of and we heard complaints about the middle school that it was not an accessible location for many either, because it's not a place that you could like walk to or necessarily easily to get to. It's not. So we didn't have a lot of, in some ways, we've had more, not so much lately, we've had more audience participation when they can also join us in a hybrid model of a meeting than when we just go fully physical. So I would love that we were able to continue a hybrid model, that people could join us, either way. So maybe we wait to see what happens, how comfortable you look with the new location that we move to. And if you feel that that is central location enough, and we can still have that option that people can physically come into meeting. Because really the building that we're in at central office is no more out of the central location than the middle school is. I guess it depends what you think the middle school is in your own mind, where you think it's located. But Jackie had her hand up.
Yep, that was Jack.
Yes,
Go ahead,
well, I completely agree with Jim, because COVID has given us a lot of flexibility in meetings that we didn't have before, especially our winters. It was much easier to go in a hybrid meeting than to drive your car and hope that you get home, particularly late at night. And so I too would hope that we would continue a hybrid meeting mode, and maybe in the new facility, it will look better or be more flexible or whatever. But I think we're looking forward to that. I think many people can join us, and who wouldn't join if they had to get in their car or walk to the site.
I'd like to piggyback on that too. We really only have 3 months until we're looking at a new central office location, right? That's not really very much time.
Yeah.
I would think a remote thing also benefits Arlington, which is not a short trip in bad weather. And we want to make sure they're included. So that would be my comment. I think we need to worry about in-person meetings once we get to a better location. Leon?
I think you'd be very pleased with this new location, and you see how it's a much bigger room. It's tight where you are, where if we have public, but the other conference, there's 2 conference rooms where we're going. One is more the size of what we're in right now. The other one is larger. It has windows. I think it's going to be a good facility that you'll enjoy holding meetings in, and it is convenient to downtown Bennington. I know it's never going to be convenient to Arlington, but if we can do it there, then we will maintain that option to do a hybrid meeting.
Something else that you need to take into consideration, which was in today's paper, is that there's a building being built in back of the new facility.
Yes,
that
there
you're
is.
talking about. And so the the comments that were made in that article were about parking.
Yeah.
And you get 20 people in their cars parking there. Would they have room with your staff? And
Mhm.
so, I mean, we don't know what it is until it is.
Right. The town assures us there's plenty of parking because of the municipal lot there. I mean, it is going to be a change. I mean, some of our staff used to pull up to the building that we're currently in. You pull right up and walk in the door. You may have to walk across a parking lot or even a second parking lot to get to the door. It will be, you know, it is going to be different. But we looked long and hard, you know, for a location to move to, and there are plus and minuses and everyone. Not only, Jackie, will this new building impact parking, it could impact light into the windows of the building that we're moving into. You know, it's not like there's going to be an alleyway in between it and it'll be that tight, but you know, it could, and it's in the side of the building where we would get the afternoon sun. So it could affect how bright it is in the central core of where we're moving into once that building is built. I believe it's going to be a 5-story building is what we were told. I don't know if that's what the article said.
Yeah.
Question. I don't know how big the conference room is, but I mean, in the new building in terms of that, but are there any plans for some all board nights for all of the districts to meet all in one place, have a party and have a meeting and then go home? So that means you have one night in the month that you have all the boards meeting in the same place and we all have a full stomach and we can go home.
Look at that.
I'd be all for that, but well, the only time we've ever done that is contract ratifications, right? And in the middle school cafeteria, and we set up boards. Everyone opens their meeting simultaneously, and then the presentation of the contract goes on. And
Well, we could have a grand opening for the building.
yeah.
Well, you also have to consider what's appropriate expenditures too.
Yeah.
The
The room wouldn't be big enough probably for all boards.
Okay.
I started was ahead because I
Well, go
ceded
ahead.
my space to. As we get closer to June, I guess we're going to figure out where we're going to meet for June. Based on this preparation.
We
We may not be there yet. Who knows?
Well, I would say that I don't know when the technology is going to be transferred.
Right.
But I would advocate that we meet at central office even in June. And then the technology gets transferred after that, because we typically do not meet in July. So that would give them July to set up the equipment in the new location for the August meeting.
How does that deal with, our current lease, so to speak, will expire June 30th, will it not? With the SV.
I'm hoping that the Union Elementary Board will allow us to have some access to the building
I hope they will.
after June 30th.
The Union Elementary Board has no idea what to do with the building at the moment.
Yeah, right. So we're probably happy to have us be there.
On behalf of.
Just in terms of meeting, hybrid or in person, it really doesn't matter to me. I'm an in-person type of individual, so that's why I drive down here. But I will second what Scott says, 5 o'clock is a very difficult time.
Yeah.
Not just for some of us board members, but in my opinion, some of our public, they're not out of work.
Yep.
And they may want to jump on. So I'm also not necessarily in favor of a 7 o'clock meeting either, Jim. I do those for select board and they go very late, but maybe there's some happy medium in there.
Yeah, I think we could, I recognize that 5 o'clock may not be accessible to the public too. So, I mean, some of our boards meet at 6 too, so that could be a happy medium.
We should look at accommodating that. And that will help what you're talking about.
My recommendation is we kind of leave it to there, but maybe for our August meeting and then we see how that works out.
Anything, other discussion on that? No. Anything else, Jeff?
Not at this time.
Chair's report, I was gonna ask about when we want to start in-person meetings too, but I think we kind of hammered that to death, so I'll let that be. I was hoping in sometime in the near future, we could get a report for the sake of public eyes about how we're using grant money. That seems to be an annual question. And it always grinds up a lot of concern about whether we're spending the funds we have efficiently, and what's left in the coffers or what more we need, those kinds. So I would ask for a review of the grant status at some point. What's next, maybe by May or something, if that's reasonable.
Okay.
Not that Renee has anything else to do, but if we could get a report on that. Committees, it doesn't look to me like membership on the boards has changed very much. And I'm not very good at pushing committees along. I can tell you where we have been up to this point, and you could tell me whether that still should be the case. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and possibly a 6th committee. Finance is one of them with Matt, Ray Molyneux. It had Chayla Sikora, but I think she's, am I correct that she's no longer a representative to the SVSU?
That's right.
That's
Okay.
correct.
And myself, policy was Leon, Nicole, and myself. I am hoping Leon's going to stay on that, even though you've got new duties.
Yes, I'll
If you
yeah,
have no
I'm sending
comment.
some more people from Mount Anthony, so
Okay.
we'll be there for SVSU purposes.
Personnel, as Ray, Matt, Todd, and myself. Does that still work? Superintendent's evaluation. We really have some unfinished business in that area. Leon is on there now along with Ray. Chayla will be off, I guess. Nicole, myself. I would love it if Jackie Kelly could jump onto that committee, possibly lead it. If you
You got it.
If you could organize that committee so that we can continue moving, that would be great, Jackie.
And she can take, you can take Tip. I'll come off so that I won't have too many people from Mount Anthony.
Okay,
So
well, that was my next question.
Yeah.
Chayla will not be on there. All right, that leaves Jackie, Ray, Nicole, and myself. I have to be on it. And negotiations.
Ray, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Negotiations shows Leon, Fran, Scott, Todd. And I don't remember if Jackie expressed an interest in that or not.
I did.
Would you consider continuing?
Yes.
Well, if I wanted to speak, I'm just saying the negotiation is going, we got teachers and we got ESP.
Yep.
So we have members that are going to be coming from each of the districts for teachers and ESP negotiation. Plus, we'll have members coming. That means it'll be a duplicate somewhere, but anyway, we'll still have room for that.
Not
Most
sure.
likely you are not going to have any teacher negotiations during this cycle because they have 2 more years to go on their contract.
Okay,
But the support staff will start negotiations in the fall.
that doesn't change anything we want to do, right?
No, we'll make it. I just wanted to know that names, Jackie was going to be on there. from Mount Anthony, myself, on one or the other. So a teacher's an ESP contract, and then you're still gonna have other districts sending members to be there.
Will that list work for Arlington?
It works for me, and full disclosure, my wife is a paraeducator in Arlington, so when Arlington starts to negotiate as a part of this, I probably should not be on the support staff negotiations.
Well,
But I have no trouble being on the teachers.
we can probably cross that bridge when we've got time for that.
Yep.
Susan has her hand up.
I'm sorry, Susan?
I just wanted to point out that you mentioned Fran was on the committee, but he's not on the board anymore.
Fran was on, Dick mentioned Fran where,
Well, under negotiations.
but he's gonna be coming in from a different point. He's not on the SVSU board.
Right.
Okay, but he has another avenue to get on.
So we can't assign him from here anyway.
Right. No, you can't assign him from SVSU.
So someone else will have to notify him. And the only other committee we had talked about was sub-pay. I'm not sure where we want to go with that or can go with that. Maybe we can think about that for another month and talk about it next month's meeting. What's your pleasure?
Dick, this is Nicole.
Oh, yeah.
I had a question, and I see that Bill's on the call. He can confirm the timing. Bill, what was our timing for starting contract discussions with our previously BVSU staff going into SVSU contract?
April 1st
Okay.
of this year, because it's probably going to be obviously it's probably going to be a more intense, I don't want to say intense, but it's probably a larger negotiation than usual.
Right. Just so that's on everyone's radar. That'll be fun.
Does that affect any of your concerns, Nicole?
Does that what?
Affect, is there a concern you have about that? You can still perform as part of whatever committees you're on.
I think I'm only on policy and superintendent evaluation, but just for the negotiations committee, that process will need to start soon.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I had under the chair's report. Is there any other business to be brought before this board? I see none. For your information, the budget status report is included for February and March, student enrollment, and policy 5016, proficiency-based graduation requirements, and the administrative regs have just been updated there. So it's none of these are voting items. And that completes our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Leon.
Second.
Second by Ray. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Really, nobody's opposed. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good evening.
Cat TV is celebrating 30 years of community media. Help support Cat TV's next 30 years by becoming a member today. Your membership will help us continue covering meaningful, local content. Thank you for supporting your local community media station.